Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thursday Tickles, a time where I tickle you with information for your personal expansion. Why? So you can have more power and choice in navigating all of life's challenges and adventures. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about how childhood can impact your relationships. So how can your childhood impact your relationships? I'm going to be talking about 3 different ways that this can really show up in your relationship patterns based off of the way that you had an upbringing in childhood. The way you had a childhood upbringing. So everybody, if you're with me, go ahead and give a big stretch because we are going to be taking in some juicy information. The truth is, our childhood drastically impacts how we view our relationships. We as people just want to be loved and accepted. And so when we are younger, we really just want to be loved and accepted by our parents, by the people around us. So if you have ever had a time in a relationship where you have noticed maybe you're mirroring a template of your parents, take a breath. Know it's okay. If there is a part of you that maybe you tend to be in relationships and you say, I'm not going to do that thing, I promise I won't do it anymore, and then the moment comes and you feel that reaction kind of coming and you respond from that place of reactivity, just know that it's okay. It's not your fault. And it's just a result of your childhood upbringing. Now, the cool thing is there's a lot of power once you have that awareness. Once you know exactly what happened in your childhood that is causing your nervous system and your mind to respond with these thought patterns of safety, of control, of people pleasing, of having a difficult time saying no. So that aside, these Thursday tickles are short little times to tickle you. So the first thing that I want to talk about in terms of how childhood can affect your relationships is, one, if you grew up in a childhood, if you had a childhood kind of template where you felt like you had a reactive parent, where your parent was very reactive to the things that you said, and so you didn't really know how they were going to respond. Maybe these reactions seemed very big or dramatic or overwhelming for you as a child. In that space, you might growing up having this template of pleasing, of wanting to please other people. Everybody, I'm at Cracker Barrel, just so you know, giving everybody the tickles. But when it comes to having a reactive parent, it can be really difficult for you as a child to feel safe. If you don't know how your parent's going to respond, if you're going to be walking on eggshells, and how that can show up in your relationships is really wanting to please your partner, really wanting to make sure that you aren't going up to upset them. So as a result, you might have a hard time saying no to your partner. You might want to go above and beyond. You might avoid conflict. Another way that your childhood can affect your love styles or your relationship patterns can be from if you had a parent who was maybe really angry or really controlling or made you feel a way that was small. If you felt small or unsafe as a child and your parent expressed anger or aggression or control, the way that might show up in your adult relationships is going to be through control as well. You're going to want to be able to control the outcomes, control the situations, control the relationship, because sometimes you might feel that if you can control what's happening, you have a lot more safety. You don't have to worry about being put in that vulnerable position of fear, of abandonment, of judgment, of disappointment. So that's just another way that your childhood can really impact your love relationships. So far we've talked about having reactive parents and how that can lead to maybe wanting to please your partner, having a difficult time saying no. The second one that we talked about was having a parent who was angry or controlling. And again, that might show up in your relationship patterns by wanting to be controlling as well, making sure that you're staying safe so you don't anger your partner, get put into that place of vulnerability like you might have when you were a child. Now, the last one I really want to talk about is maybe not necessarily a style of your childhood, but just the invitation that is to reflect on what childhood you had. What was the love template that your parents mirrored for you? What was the love template that you received? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comment. What does love mean to you? What did it mean to you growing up? Whether your parents were reactive, maybe your parents were extremely nurturing and loving and held you and gave you all of the juicy love, maybe that shows up in relationships for you, and how that can show up in that moment is really just kind of in this space that is, when there is conflict, feeling like, oh my goodness, I can't handle this. I can't handle the conflict because I'm not used to having conflict. Love isn't conflict. So when those moments arise, you might be really quick to end relationships or to feel like it's your fault or something's not working out. And so just take a breath, and again, know wherever you are in your relationship patterns and your relationship styles, it's okay. We are human and things happen. We've all had childhoods with trauma, whether that's a big T or a little t. Just know that you deserve to live a life of freedom, to have a relationship that makes you feel safe, that makes you feel heard, that makes you feel seen. If any of this resonates and you're like, whoa, this is good stuff. I didn't realize that there was so much information in regards to childhood, especially around impacting my love, my relationship, and my intimate partners, then I invite you to join me next week, December 14th. I'm going to be doing a free experience called Healing Self-Worth Through the Inner Child. And during this hour event, I'm really going to be talking about how childhood really impacts our life, and really how can we start to look at our relationship patterns, including our relationship patterns with ourselves, to really heal our self-worth. So that way you can have more fulfillment and more trust and just a stronger sense of self-worth, because you are worthy. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed these Thursday tickles. If this calls to you, I hope to see you next week, December 14th, at Healing Self-Worth Through the Inner Child. And know that I am here every Thursday to tickle you with information, sending lots of love and light always. Bye.